Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1313A, and today's date is June 22nd, 2017, and the title of the episode is, The Fed is Now Preparing for the Next Economic Crisis. Here's how. Let's get into the economic collapse financial news. Now, we are seeing one retailer after another completely collapse on itself, and it's not slowing up. And we see that as we move throughout this year, it's going to get a lot worse. And this holiday season, it's not going to get any better. We're going to see, most likely after this holiday season, a lot more stores close down, which means there's a lot of commercial real estate. Strip malls will be completely empty. Malls will be empty. And we're going to have major problems. Now, Sears in Canada, they announced that they are going bankrupt. They're going to be letting go around 3,000 people. And we can see already that these individuals are going to have a very difficult time trying to find work. Now, we can see at this point that Sears most likely will cease to exist as we move throughout these coming months. And a lot of other stores, which we've known for a very long time, they don't exist anymore. Now, we realize that the economy is breaking down very, very quickly. Everywhere we look, we see things accelerating to the downside. And we were looking at Home Capital Group. This is up in Canada, where they were having major problems, where they had the liar loans. They were basically imploding on themselves, and depositors were taking their funds out of the financial institution. And many people thought, okay, this is going to be the first sign. It's going to have a domino effect. It will start affecting other financial institutions, and this will be a cascading effect. Now, something very interesting just happened. Warren Buffett, he came in and he acquired 38.4% of Home Capital Group, and he's providing around $2 billion worth of loans. Now, the question is, why is he doing this? Why did Warren Buffett indirectly acquire $300 million of the firm's shares in a private placement through its Columbia Insurance unit? Why did he do this? Well, we can see that there were many problems with Home Capital Group, where the company was in the crosshairs for peddling liar loans. Last week, Home Capital reached around $30.5 million settlement with Ontario Securities Commission, settled a class action lawsuit, and accepted responsibility for misleading investors about problems with its mortgage underwriting procedures. In April, it was accused of misleading shareholders on mortgage fraud, which sent its shares tumbling. And once that happened, it sparked withdrawals and threatened to disrupt Canada's real estate sector. So Warren Buffett stepped in. He decided to acquire a portion of this company. And the reason for this is because they knew if no one did anything, this would start the chain reaction, and the economy throughout Canada, the US, the rest of the world would all start coming down. Think about 2006, 2007, 2008. What other companies were there problems with? Bear Stearns comes to mind, where they stepped in and they tried to save it. Does this not look very familiar to that point in time? We're seeing very similar things happen once again. And the reason why we're seeing this is because they're trying to hold off the entire system from coming down. That's why they're doing this. Now, when we look at junk bonds right now, they are signaling that the great global debt binge, well, it's coming to an end. Now, the market has gone absolutely nowhere for about, 15 weeks now? Meanwhile, against the backdrop, we can see the credit markets are flashing major warning signs. Junk bonds have broken their bull market trend line from the 216 bottom. This is a major warning that the markets are switching into risk-off mode. And what we're looking at right now, it looks like that the central bank-driven credit bubble from 2009, well, it looks like it is now ending. And we can see from everything the Fed has been doing that things are rapidly coming to an end here. And it looks like the Fed is preparing for the next economic crisis. Now, everything that we've been looking at shows us that we're in this recession right now. I mean, we have weak data all over the place. We can see with our own two eyes how things are rapidly deteriorating. And we know that the Fed is raising the interest rates. Now, they also mentioned that they'll be unwinding their balance sheet. Now, we need to think about this for a second. They bought up all that toxic real estate back in 2009, 2010, 2011. They also had stimulus to pump up the markets once again. And they've been holding this toxic real estate while at the same time they've been pumping up the real estate bubbles. Now, let's think about this for a second. They've been pumping up the bubbles, getting the prices on homes to move up, to make it seem like the real estate market was strong. Now, remember, they're holding all this toxic real estate, and the value of this continually rises, which means there's going to come a point where they can say, let's get rid of it right now. And here we are right now. Now, why did they pick this time to do it? Well, we're at the top of the bubbles. They can unload this now. People will buy it. People will say, yes, give me this. I will take it. Now, why are they doing this? They are doing this because they're getting ready for the next round of this entire market collapse scenario. They're cleaning out as much as they possibly can so they can take on more. They're raising interest rates to basically start the chain reaction. We have Warren Buffett purchasing shares in this mortgage company, which basically was collapsing. Now, he's stopping it. The Fed is now maneuvering to get all of this off of their balance sheet. Now, they need to do this because once the system starts to come down and it drops dramatically, what are they going to have to do? Well, these housing prices, these bubbles, they're going to pop. And there's going to be a lot more toxic real estate. And they can take what they have and basically go out to the banks and purchase them up once again. They can start stimulus once again to prop up the markets. This is what we've been talking about, where they have been planning this for a very long time, where this is going to be a two-stage type of collapse. Now, the first stage, which we talked about, they're going to let the markets go. They're going to let the bubbles pop. Now, remember, they've always said that they can't decide if there's a bubble or not a bubble. They have no tools to detect this, but we know for a fact they're the ones who create all of these bubbles. They do it on purpose. They know exactly when they're going to pop because they do it. Everything is completely controlled by them. It's really not a surprise. And we can see that they're prepared and ready to bring it down. This is what they're getting ready to do. Now, the first stage is where they're going to say, okay, look, it's maybe being blamed on Trump. Let's just use that as an example where he is the one who brought down the economy. Now, not all the way, part of the way. And it's going to allow the Fed to step in. Now, most likely, they'll not raise rates anymore. They're going to say they're going to have to lower them back down because there's no way that they can raise rates when this is all happening. They're going to say we're going to try some stimulus. They're not going to go full. They're not going to go full throttle with stimulus right away. They're going to say, let's start off slowly. We're going to add some stimulus to the economy, and we're going to help the banks out right now because we can see that a lot of the real estate that they owned, well, it's dropping very quickly. Now, they're not going to do this right away, of course. They're going to wait a little while until they step in and say, let's buy up some of this toxic real estate, which again then will create another bubble, which will pump the market up once again. Now, how high can they pump this market up once again? Well, they're going to have a lot of trouble because this time it's going to go absolutely nowhere. They know this already. They already know that they'll have a small window to do this. And when I say small, I don't mean like a week. I mean a couple of months, maybe even a year. And after that point, what they're going to do, as people think that the economy is getting better, things are improving. Of course, the corporate media, the Fed, they're going to be out there telling you how great the economy is improving. It is getting better. We will most likely get hit with some type of an event. And this will then bring down the economy permanently. And we can see that the Fed right now is getting prepared and ready to do this. This is what they're getting ready to do. Now, like we've said in the past, during this period of where the economy comes down, we're going to see a lot of things start to happen where credit is going to start to freeze up. We might see deliveries start to slow in the supermarkets, in stores. We might start to see a lot of inflation where, of course, the Fed is going to come out and say, we're going to try to control this inflation. And this is exactly what they're going to try to do. We're going to see a lot of people losing their jobs. A lot of people are going to be going on to food stamps. A lot of people are going to be needing the government's help. Now, this is going to be all part of the first part of this entire system coming down. A lot of people are going to say, okay, please make it better. Help us. Let's do this. And as we go throughout this entire maybe couple months, a year, we're going to see inflation start to hit. We're going to see the cost of goods go up. We're going to see less and less things in the supermarket, in stores. We're going to see this have an effect around the world. We're going to end up in this credit crisis. This is why they're going to need that event to basically bring this full circle where the entire economy comes down, because this will allow them to blame this on another country or group where all the blame is off of them because they've been trying to help. And this, right now, this is what they're setting this up to be. This is what they're preparing for. They're not doing it because, oh, it's in the best interest of the country. We're doing it to help the everyday person. We're doing it to help everyone get a job. No, this has nothing to do with that. This is a private corporation that only cares about themselves. They care about profit. They have no allegiance whatsoever to a country or a group. And what they're doing right now is they're getting prepared and ready to bring the system down, to bring it back up, and then to bring it back down again. And what everyone needs to do right now is get prepared for what is about to happen. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.